Hello, here we are again today with reflections. Today we are going to deal with words. One of the words, belief. Belief. We're going to deal with belief. What do you believe? We're going to talk about why belief is necessary. What is it? What is prayer? Let's put it with that. We're going to use prayer, belief, and the necessity of the both of them. Now, our idea of prayer is not so much as asking God for things as it is believing that we already have the things that we need. Listen at that statement. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it slowly. I want you to listen at that statement. To us, prayer, or our idea of prayer, is not so much as asking God for things as it is believing that we already have the things that we need. Well, that's new for us again. That's all in the new trend. Prayer, to most of us, is asking God for something or complaining about something. But it's not necessary. We're saying in order to pray, we don't have to do that. The thing that is necessary is belief. If we don't remember anything else, the thing that's necessary in getting your prayers answered is belief. And then the next question or the next statement is going to be, belief is full acceptance of whatever your thought is or whatever your project is. I believe this is for me. I believe this will happen for me. I believe I'm worthy of this. I believe I can have whatever you believe. You've got to fully accept that. You would no more wishing, no more wondering, no more, well, I do and I don't, maybe or may not, I hope or I wish. It's a direct knowing. It's really knowing without a doubt. Remember the prayer, anything you believe, doubting not, no doubt, you believe this is so. Now, there's a reason for that, but I want you to get that full acceptance. One reason for that full acceptance, and I'm saying that's what that belief is, that's what the mind, remember, everything for us works through the mind. And the mind requires of us for whatever before it manifests what we ask. The mind is requiring complete acceptance. It is requiring that you fully believe, not that you hope it. So what do we mean by that? What does the mind do? The mind is the thing. We have a form. The mind, the individual, produces a form so that there is something for your request that you make falls in where it is prepared to manifest or to answer your request. He said, all is law and cause and effect obtained through all life. Mind is the cause, and what we term matter or visible is the effect. That's the process of law. The cause, your mind causes what you're told your mind, what the question is or what the statement is. That is what we give to the mind, and the mind has to have that in a certain way. It's direct requirement. It's not that you just say, Lord, I do so and so and so, and that's what it is. We went through all of this in another lesson, I think. But anyway, I want to bring it into this lesson. That then the thing that I want you to really know is about that fully equipped, fully acceptance. Because until you have fully accepted the fact of whatever it is you're going to get, it does not go through the process that the mind goes through in answering your request or in making it so. That's the whole lesson. That's the whole lesson. In our world, everything is cause and effect. The cause comes from your mind, and the effect is the result of it. For instance, water will freeze into the form that it is poured. So the mind will solidify only into the forms that the mind takes it. Thought, that's our form. In other words, what is it you're praying about? That's the thought. How was it? The other thing I want you to know about your subconscious mind is you don't just talk to it. It's alive. And the words that you speak, you don't just speak them. It's the fire. Your words have within it the power that you put into them. That's the degree of whatever it is that you put into the word is what gives it the power. Words have power. So then all of that is mixed up in the fact that I don't believe that. It's an inner process. You don't. It goes. You remember we talk a lot about withinness. It's not outside. Anything that is going on outside, anything you do and all that, that's outside stuff. It has nothing to do with belief, because belief is something you have no real physical control over. It's an inner process. It's something that happens that you have no control over. But when you do what's to be done and it gets what it's supposed to get, it happens. Belief. I believe in it. There's a feeling in it. There's a fervor in it. It's so that when you finally finish, there's no reason for you to have any doubt, because when you go through the process, when you fully accept it, it is so. So you go on to the next thing. You just keep your mind and things within that attitude or the feeling is in terms of positiveness, in terms of fullness, in terms of acceptance, in terms of knowing. And then it happens when it happens. Not when you say. It happens when you believe. When you believe. When I can truly say, I believe. You remember when Jesus went to the tomb of Lazarus, he didn't go hoping that he could help Lazarus. He didn't go doubting himself. He went knowing. He went believing. He went fully accepting the idea that I've come to do this, and this is what I'm going to do. When he said, come forth, he knew he was going to come. Why? Because he knew within him was that power. He knew that it was not of himself. He was not healing. He was not moving. He was not doing anything. He was just the person through which God had to do whatever he was going to do for Lazarus. So he presented himself differently. He felt what he felt, and he acted upon what he felt. How about you? When we pray, how do we feel? Do we really believe that this is going to be? Can you really feel in your mind, this is so? Can we just say, just know that that's going to happen, so we feel confident and we go on to life and living? But when Jesus went to the tomb, he knew that God was working through him. Often when we go through things we don't know, we're nervous, and you act like it's okay to be nervous. I'm a little nervous, and so you feel that's normal. But that's not normal. We must know with deep conviction. I must know who I am. I must know I'm capable. I know that I can do this because God is the one who's going to do this through me. All I have to do is be here and open. Yeah, I open my mouth. He will speak through me. When he will prepare my mind, he will prepare my body. He'll make all the preparations. God will do that power of God, and I already have that power. It's already there. So it's not like I've got to go and I got to beg God, Lord, let me tell you, this is what happened, this is why this happened, and this is why that happened, and and all the details and all of that. Why can't I just come in knowing that God's going to do what he's going to do, and I simply make the request, or I simply thank him in advance. Father, I want to thank you for what you're going to do, because I got to feel that the thing here is we have to have what they call already believing. When I do it, I'm already believing it's going to be. That's a good thought. Isn't it a good idea that I don't have to be dependent on anything else other than just to be there and have that connection with the Almighty God? I already believe it. I don't care what you say or what's going on or how big it is or how little it is, how important where it is. It is so. And that's what Lazarus. That's what the Bible meant when it says anything you ask, believing and doubting not, you can have all things. What does it say? All things are yours. If you can control your thoughts, you can have anything you want to have. If you can control, the man who controls his thoughts can have and can do and can wish, do what he wished to have and to do. Everything is just for the asking. In that prayer, I already know. I ask because that's the process. I make a request because God has already prepared for you whatever it is you need for anything. So we aren't dealing or depending on whether I got a job or whether so and so is going to lend me some money or whatever it's going to have. That we no longer have that responsibility. We don't that thing that hangs on to us that worries. Cannot the principle of life create for us faster? The universe is inexhaustible. It's limitless. It knows no bounds and has no confines. We are not depending on anything else but God. We are depending on the principles of life itself. I can just see Jesus when he was there at that tomb and everybody was crying and everybody was upset because Lazarus was dead. Well, they didn't realize they were standing there looking at life itself. When he says, "Come forth," when all he had to do is he had to speak. He believed. He accepted the fact that through God he had the power to do. He had the power to be. Do you realize that you too have the power to be, have the power to speak or to do? Do you realize too that you can and you don't have to be in bondage to anything or anybody else? Life for you is already. You have to come in already. I'm ready for whatever I believe. I believe. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Are you all frustrated and confused because you think they can or he can or she can, but I can't? If you can control your thoughts, it's that word is not just a word. It means something. It has a meaning, and it also has a process. And the process is for you to fully, without a doubt, I said it, accept it. I guess that's where that it is so. It is right. That is right. So we learn to control our thoughts. We learn to stay positive. If you can control your thoughts, you can have it. It's because he's already been prepared for you. It's already been given to us by the Father. We just don't, it's sort of like having money in the bank. If you got some in there and you know it's in there, all you do is go and get it when you get ready. If you got all the money in the world in the bank and you don't realize it's yours, or you don't realize you can have it, you'll always be broke. You'll always be pitiful. The universe, the Father prepares for us all that we will ever need. You don't want a surplus just laying around. You don't want, you just make sure you get what you need. And your livable process. The divine mind prepares for you. Only believe. You heard the song, I only believe all things are possible. All things are so. All things are already. You don't have to make it. It already is. All things. What it doesn't matter. It doesn't be that you have to. You have to just pray for certain things. Just be open. Be free. Be open and acceptable to what is. Freely enjoying life and living. You can have a good life. Can you accept a good life? Do you know? We again in the lesson of good life and good living, I said when you come to know, when you come to realize the power that God has instilled in each of us, within us, then we're free of bondage. We aren't obligated. We aren't hanging on to nobody or looking to nobody. All things, whatever you pray and ask for. That next word is believe, that you are capable of receiving. And then if you can believe you can receive, then you will have. Now, just because we're depending on divine mind, you must not think that you don't have to do something. You don't have to do your share. God will work through us if we will let him, but we must act in the outer as though we are sure of ourselves. If you act like you aren't sure, you don't know. You don't believe. We must act that way, regardless to what the situation looks like. Yeah, belief sort of kind of like that faith. You got to know that it might not come. Well, you heard it might not come when you want it. In His fullness of time. So that's what you've got to do. Our part is to ask and to believe and then to act in faith. What's your part? To act, to believe, act on faith, and then do your part. That's a good lesson. That's good. That's easy. That's good thinking. Have you thought about it? It's not going, getting on your knees, begging, pleading, crying. Yeah, that's unnecessary. That's your God. That's who made you. That's who takes care of you. That's who provides for you. That's who is above all others. That's the power. That's the all power, not just some little something he picked up along the way. He's above all things. There's nothing I keep saying he, but it's not a he, it's it. It's a power. And it's you, and you have it. It's within you. It was a gift. You didn't have to pay for it. You just have to believe. And it says, it sounds like it's easy, but it's not that you just say, I believe. There are some people who can believe easier than others. It depends on your makeup. And then there's some folks, you just don't believe nothing. I believe, Lord. You remember in the Bible it says, Lord, help my unbelief. Lord, help my unbelief. Lord, help me. Because, see, God's in charge here. It's within you. There's something that has to transpire within you that say, okay, it is so. But you've got to have that feeling. You've got to have that knowing. I want that to be, I want you to get that. If you don't get anything else, it's to you for the asking. If you will only believe. So then you got to, if you just act on that, try to do something about that. Watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. If your thoughts are positive, you're always, it's not that you always praying and every time you go in and ask the Lord again and again and again and again and again. He's not hard of hearing, and he doesn't forget things. He's not senile. So just thank him. Lord, I thank you for this. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. It's there for the asking. Lord, bless my unbelief. Lord, bless my unbelief. Go into it knowing. Let Jesus be an example for you there. With going into situations in life. Now, this happens in other things other than prayer. I just had to put that with that because I used to talk or think about why we pray and so hard, and we why sometimes it's answered and sometimes it's not. I just pondered with that, and so finally, it is that it's not because we don't really believe, and it's simple. It's just simple that you gotta believe. It's just that. Believe, fully believe, completely accept. No questions. No, well, I got to think about it. It's a part of you. It's a part of your knowing. It's a part of your accepting. God is. We depend on the divine law, the divine part of God, which is all of God, to do, because he said he would. It's my good pleasure. He says to give you. That's mine. I'm just so happy to do that for you. I'm not saying I'll do that for you if you will do anything but believe. Not if you got money, not if you lived right, or you done this, or you've done all the silly things we keep ourselves down with. But if I could just, Lord, help me to believe. Lord, bless my belief. Try to feel the goodness. And a lot of times we don't accept things or don't do things because we don't think we qualify. Sally down the street could do, but I could never do. Other people can do this and do that, but I never think of myself. as being. Well, are you not one with the Father? What kind of thoughts do you keep all day? Think about that. Let that run through your mind. I am one with God. He is one with me. Okay. That means I've got everything. That's such a beautiful way to have to live or to have to think on. Rather than thinking I have to live up to this, I have to have that, I have to do the other. See, all you have to do is be. All you have to do is believe in that that's within you, into that God that's within you. To go and realize that God has given you the power to do anything you want, to be anything you want to be. How about that? Especially that praying bit. So you don't have to, if you go into a situation begging or not really knowing or pleading or whatever, it has something to do with your feeling. But if you go in there and it's all erect and in charge of knowing who you are and knowing that you've got for everything that it takes to be, then you come out with a different situation. And I'm saying to you, my dear ones, is that's the case with even with your daily living. Know what you want. You've got to know what you want. And you have to believe that you deserve. You are deserving of that you really want. Not if you want this today and you want that tomorrow. But we're talking about serious living. I know what I want. Or I want to be this. I can be whatever I want to be. The God in me said so. I can have whatever I want to have. No limits. That's what God said. I have to what? I have to believe it. Only believe, that song says, everything is possible. We simply have to believe it. Give that some thought. Think about how you are. Think about how you think, how you feel about you. I focus on, I'm not talking about the world and making change in the world and all that. I'm just talking about you, because that's your responsibility, you. I believe in the God that's within me. I believe that the God within me can handle any situation, who has all the power, who you remember in the beginning, it was God. It was God who made everything. It was God that is everything. And hey, what about it? You are one with that God. You are the same. You can live the same. You can live that same life. You can if you will what? If you will believe. If you, not I'm trying, I'm hoping. Are you doing it? You can do it. You can. You must believe. Give that some thought this week. Think about it. Think about it. Make whatever changes are necessary. It's all going to go back to your thinking, with how you think, what you feel, what you say, how you act. And believing, you got to believe it, and then you have to act on whatever it is you believe. I believe and I act. God is, I am. So until next Sunday, believe.
So I say to you, child, oh, I say to you, child, don't be afraid to dream.